Yep.
Our next guest is Dr. Alutalala Mukhwana. He's an IEBC commissioner, and we'll be talking to him about preparedness for 2027, yes, but also for coming by-elections. And yes, the issue of public trust that should be maintained. I will not say restored, I will say maintained, right? We're working from a position of trust already. How do we bolster it? Welcome, Dr. Mukhwana.
Thank you very much. I think you need to know the name so that I don't get the salutations wrong.
I know. You can do the introductions.
Mariam, thank you.
Eric and Janet.
Yes. Thank you very much, Latif, Mariam, and Janet, for the welcome. On behalf of the chairperson of the IEBC, my young brother, Rastas Edunga Thekon, the vice chair, Fahim Arafat Abdallah, and my fellow commissioners, we can't thank you enough for being the first major media station to give us an opportunity to speak to fellow citizens about IEBC and what it is that we are doing. Kwa hivyo, kwa heshima kubwa, naomba nitangulize kwa shukran kwa kutupatia nafasi hii, kwa sababu Wakenya mahali tulipofika tumejana majonzi, hakuna matumaini. Na sisi tumekuja kama wageni tuambie kwamba yapo matumaini. Kwa hivyo asante sana kwa makaribisho.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Janet is going to give you the day's quote in Swahili.
Asante.
Now she'll tell you some words that were said by somebody many years ago, and let's see whether those words make sense to you today.
Okay.
Ningesema kwa Kiswahili, had I done a bit of research.
Prepared.
Next time.
Unaweza fanya introduction.
Hapana. Labda kesho. Quote is by, he was a revolutionary leader from Guinea-Bissau, and there was a tricontinental conference happening in Havana, Cuba back in 1966. So obviously it was a moment of calling on revolutionary leaders at that time. And one of the things and statements he said, tell no lies, claim no easy victories. Tell no lies, claim no easy victories. How do you understand that?
Tell no lies, claim no easy victories. In other words, there is no easy path to success. Don't craft and concoct situations that are non-existent. Kwa njia nyingine, jamani, fuata ukweli. Japo safari ni ngumu, maana mwisho safari utakuwa ni mwenye manufaa iwapo tutakuwa ni watu wenye haki, ukweli na usawa. Na hilo ndilo jukumu kubwa la tume huru ya mipaka na uratibishaji uhuru. Asante.
You have a lot of work ahead of you. July 11th this year, you and your fellow commissioners were sworn in.
Yes.
And you assumed office. This was, of course, after some rigorous recruitment exercise. Came into office despite all the upheaval at some point during your nomination process, you know, from political quarters that, you know, this thing is being infiltrated and so on and so forth. Since you got into office, has the politics quelled down?
Well, I'm not so sure whether I have a correct answer to that, because what you call the upheavals, the push and pull about our nominations may not be in public now. But yes, there was a push and pull then. But if you allow me, for us to appreciate where we are coming from as a new commission, with your permission, if you allow me, to just give you a brief of what we have found in IEBC when we joined. We are 47 days old today. And how we have organized ourselves to be able to deliver on the mandate that is the delivery of fair, accurate, verifiable, and transparent elections. If you allow me.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Now, Latif, one thing that when I was outside here and I had an opportunity to sit on tables like this with media like we are doing now, I too had a lot of criticism about IEBC. And my criticism was based on the history of IEBC in this nation, but most importantly, what I was seeing from the outside. Fast forward, I have been given the privilege and honor to be a commissioner at IEBC. And the first realization I have made, including all our commissioners, is that there is so much good work that has been going on in IEBC, but which Kenyans have no idea about. Now, the first thing that we have done is to create committees so that we give specificity and more attention to thematic areas of operations of the Commission. And so the first person that has a thematic area is the vice chairperson, Fahima Arafat Abdallah. She's in charge of supply chain management, commonly known by Kenya as procurement. When you say procurement, then they know what you're talking about. Yeah. She sits in a committee which is comprised of the director of that particular area, and they sink deeper into the nitty-gritties of what goes on. They do committee meetings, and once they have arrived at how things should be done, then come to all of us as commissioners into a plenary. That way, every commissioner is involved in the workings of every directorate and everything that happens. Because you talk about the trust, if there are commissioners, some commissioners who know one thing and the other commissioners know the other thing, that does not breed good delivery matrices. So that is Fahima Arafat Abdallah. Then there is HR, dealing with the staff issues, the welfare, the recruitment, and all that. Hassan Nur Hassan is the commissioner in charge. Then there is Professor Francis Adwal, who is in charge of boundaries delimitation, together with ICT. Then we have Commissioner Anne Deritu, whose role is electoral operations, the big area that is really the core business of the Commission. Then there is Mary Karen Sorobit, who is the commissioner in charge of legal compliance. And finally, there is me, and I have the privilege to preside over voter education, partnerships, stakeholder engagement, and communications. So this is important for this panel to appreciate, so that even as you ask these questions going forward, we know where to anchor those questions, in which direction are we looking at. I had actually hoped that you had allowed me to come with some of my technical team, because some of the issues that appear out here not to be incongruent with the Kenyans' aspirations are actually aligned, but the world has no idea what happens.
So let me ask you, Commissioner.
Please do.
Because, like you said, yes, you've been in the media space as a commentator, talking about elections, our preparedness, our management, and so on and so forth. And you say when you got into the Commission, you realize, actually, there's a lot of work that's been going on. Correct. So where was the gap? What was the gap? How come you didn't know?
Thank you. That's a very good question, Latif. Communication, communication, communication. You know, there is one business guru called Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker describes the folly of doing business without marketing. And he says this, that when you do business without marketing, you are like a gentleman who is winking at a very beautiful lady in front of him, but in stark darkness. He has no chance. He'll never know. He'll never win, because the poor lady has no idea what this man is doing. You're winking.
It's not even an idea that he's in front of her.
There's another version of that. They say, yeah, if you like a young lady and you don't tell her in the village, you'll end up fetching water for guests at her wedding.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wait, say that again. That's good.
If you like a young lady and you don't tell her,
you might end up fetching
water for guests at her
Precisely.
wedding.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Communication.
Communication.
Yes.
Okay.
We have had a problem. And again, I have inquired, because now that's my docket. I have inquired why this lack of communication. And there is one thing that we have to grapple with. Number one is the fear that the staff at IEBC have gotten over the years because of the bashing. To be honest with you, some members of staff at IBC are in paralysis out of the fear of demonization, out of the fear that will actually be blacklisted, targeted, and killed. Particularly after some of the members of the commission were killed, and you remember this, right from the gentleman in charge of ICT, election officials in Bakassi, and many others. So the first problem why there has been no communication, particularly from our technocrats in IBC, is that they suffer the paralysis of fear. Number two, voter education. For some reason, voter education has not been prioritized so much in terms of budget allocation. So that there is this tendency to think that once the elections are done, then there is no work going on at IBC. So the moment the elections are done, nobody is interested in what happens at IBC, the budgets are slashed, and nothing happens. Yet that is the time when IBC should spend more time interacting with the citizens and the voters, educating them and informing them about the processes at IBC. So that has also contributed to the lack of communication. And thirdly, which is critical, is our own deficiencies as humans. We must accept also that there is what I'm strong at and there's what Janet is strong at. We need to have collegiality in the IEBC so that if Mariam is good at something, we let her run with it, because her win becomes a collegial win. If Janet is good at something else, we view it as a positive and we let her run with it. At the end of the day, we all contribute in little bits, the story of the hummingbird, and eventually we call big fire. So the final problem that I see myself that has led to that, Latif, again, if I'm answering your question right, is the lack of the requisite collegiality in the team. And that is what we are really working hard on as a new IBC. That it doesn't matter whether we like our chairperson or not, our vice chairperson, or each other. It's not about liking each other. We did not know each other, but fate has brought us together. And Kenyans don't want to know who likes the other or who doesn't like. What Kenyans want to know is that come 2027, they are receiving a free, fair, and credible election. So we are working on our chemistry, on our jelly and collegiality.
We'll get into all those others. I'm just curious because you've highlighted numerous gaps. You also broke down the different ways in which IEBC is comprised or working together, boundaries, delimitation, voter education. As a commissioner, in your personal capacity, what do you deem a priority over and above all these? What supersedes the other? You may have alluded to it. I've heard you talk a lot about voter registration. I've heard you talk a lot about communication. There's a large task ahead. So what is the priority that supersedes all these?
Thank you, Janet. That's a fantastic and spot-on question. Our priority is rebuilding the image of IBC, regaining the trust and confidence of the people of Kenya in IB's ability to deliver credible, accountable, verifiable, and transparent elections. That is our priority, because regardless of everything else we do, if we don't have the trust of the nation, we'll not move far. And that is why you began by your questioning, that there has been a lot of political punching preceding our coming on board. Is it still on? And I did not answer directly because I thought it's important that we understand what you're doing first, then see if that question can be answered in those prisms. Thank you.
Is there lack of public trust in the IBC?
Or is it the political class that...
Right.
That
causes the lack of public trust.
Dr. Alutalala Mukhwana, before you applied for the position of IEBC Commissioner, did you have trust in IEBC?
As an institution, yes, I did.
Do you think many other Kenyans were of the same view as you?
Yes. We may not know the proportion, but there are Kenyans who actually had trust in IBC as an institution. And this is clear, making clear demarcation. IEBC as an institution. Remember, IEBC is one of the 15 commissions, rather, chapter 15 independent commissions. So there are many Kenyans, but there are others who really have no trust in IBC. The sad thing is that darkness always clouds light. And so what appears to be out there predominantly is this about lack of trust. And you will see, Latif, even in our mainstream media, every time IEBC comes up, what seems to take prominence is lack of trust in IEBC. But from where I sit, and from the commissioners and some Kenyans, there is trust in IEBC. However, we have to build on that negative dimension that keeps popping up, because if we don't, we'll not get it right.
What informs it?
What informs
the negativity?
Thank you. First, it doesn't have everything to do with what IEBC does right or does wrong. That is not all that there is in that negative publicity. It has a mixture of reasons. Number one, the history of IEBC. You know, today when you meet Mariam, you would want to know where she comes from. What you're actually looking at, who is she? What has he done in her life? Even if you go outside this country, the US now, when you're applying for a visa, they are saying they'll want to know a bit of your history. They
check
want
your
to,
social media.
Thank you. They want to check your social media. The history plays a big role in shaping perceptions about people, and so does it about institutions. From 1992, at the advent of multipartyism in this country, and even if you go before the advent of multi-party, the history of how elections have been conducted has not been kind. Remember Mlolongo? Maybe the two of you may know. I do not know whether you were born yet. You've heard of it. Janet may not. Maybe she has heard of it. In Mlolongo, the winner was declared the loser, so it is said, and the loser was declared the winner. That is the history before multi-party 1992. Come 1992, and at every 5-year cycle, the elections were marred by claims of rigging, inaccuracy, unverifiability, lack of transparency. That is in 1992. 2007 was the apex of it. The country exploded into civil war, and thousands lost their lives. It is, remember that time, the late Samuel Kivuitu saying, I do not know who won. So what perceptions do you expect people to have about that process? Came 2012, we were the Supreme Court. Okay? And there was the vifaranga of a computer. What do you expect the Kenyans to think when they're actually told by their leadership that all those people who were elected during that election were hatched miraculously the way chicks are hatched through
some incubators.
Come 2017, we have a battle. Come 2022, we're going to have a battle. So the first problem that is burdening IEBC is the history of elections in this country. The second problem is our political leadership, some of them. Because every time our political leadership works together, there is peace. IEBC has no problem somehow.
It's very good.
It's very good. Okay? But the moment elections are conducted and the winner is declared, IEBC is a terrible organization. These people are thieves. Take, for instance, every time that elections end, and remember, when the elections end, we have a winner and a loser. How many winners do we have? In this country, there are 16,105 candidates whom were registered to vie in 2022. 16,105. How many winners came out of that number? 1882. 1,882. So if we take 16,105 losers, add their supporters who are loyal, They believed in them. They invested emotionally. They believed them as the Messiah that would deliver them to the promised land. Just amplify that unhappiness and tell me which one will be prominent in the social space. Will it be the loser's voice or the winner's voice? So then, because we have the problem of our politicians not accepting laws, the Ghanaians have shown us the way. They shake hands and say, yes,
you won.
You won. But our politicians are yet to accept that whoever has won has validly won. Shake hands and say, there'll be a second time.
Right.
So the second problem that IEBC is compounded with because of these perceptions is how our politics are played. It's volatile, Latif. It's volatile. Number 3, the electoral ecosystem. Kakangu, hizi kura zetu zapigwa hivi. Kwamba walio wengi hawana haja na wachache. Wanatafuta mmoja tu. Kama hawa wengi na ni wingi wa kuzaliwa. Hawa wengi wakiwa 50 hawana haja na wengine 49. Wana haja na mmoja tu. Wanaongeza pale. Wanakuwa ngapi? 51. Yatosha. Akishaingia kule serikalini inakuwa wengine hawana maana.
Daktari, hebu tueleze. Umenipoteza kidogo. Nieleze.
Winner takes it all.
Thank you. That's why I was coming. But I want the citizens to understand.
Aya.
Can we take a break and then you
Okay,
explain that in greater detail?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's take a break.
Sure.
It's coming up to 2 minutes to 9. Dr. Alutalala Mukhwana is the commissioner with the IEBC. He is chairing a committee which is responsible for voter education, partnerships, communication, and what else?
Stakeholder engagement.
Stakeholder engagement. Now, we are the stakeholders, we are the partners, we are the voters.
Yes.
And we are the ones who need communication.
Indeed.
That's why he's here. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour.
Things are thick, guys.
Yeah.
But we're back in conversation with IEBC Commissioner Dr. Alutalala Mukhwana. He's talking about preparedness of the IEBC for the forthcoming elections. And just before we get back into the conversation, he was explaining to us one of the reasons why he thinks we have a distrust of the IEBC. And basically, he was talking about the electoral process. But just looking at some feedback, elections are not IEBC's burden alone. How does IEBC plan to tap into the research and expertise of universities to improve how elections are managed? That's Dr. Edwin Wanjawa asking on our YouTube. Interesting. Okay, as a new commissioner operating with the old secretariat, have you found it necessary to relook at the composition of the secretariat to ensure it's fit for the purpose as you move forward? Interesting question. There's a lot more on voter education as well. Perhaps you can start with just finishing your thought on electoral processes. It was
point number 3.
Yeah, point number 3. Sababu ambazo watu hawana imani kwa IEBC. And you were saying it's basically winner takes all. I'll remind you of the questions.
The first two, the history of our elections.
Yes.
And then you said our political leadership. Let's just call it what it is, but you're now a commissioner, so you won't say what you used to say when you appeared on TV.
No,
it's political bad manners.
Bad hygiene.
Yes, it's just poor hygiene of our politicians. And number 3, you said our electoral system.
Thank you.
Explain now.
Thank you, and thank you, Lati, for reminding me that I can't say what I used to say. Please keep me
in check.
Because I do this job for all Kenyans, and it's important that I appear so. Wajua, wahenga walisema kwamba wengi wape. Usipowapa, watachukua kwa wingi wa mikono yao. Na ndivyo ilivyo nchini humu. Kwamba sera zetu za uchaguzi zimekitwa katika misingi ya wengi wape. Hivi kwamba kabila moja likiwa limebarikiwa kwa uzao mwingi, wakawa kuna watu wengi, basi hao katika kura na chaguzi za taifa hili wako na bahati. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu the nature of our political arrangement, it's called the electoral system, is pegged on majoritarian principle, as opposed to mixed member proportional system. Majoritarian means wengi wapi, in simple terms. Kwamba all you need is to have votes that are half of those who turn out. So in simple terms, so that the citizens understand this, if there are 100 voters who turn out, all that you need is 50.
Plus one.
Then you look for the plus one.
For the extra one.
Yes. Now this is where I keep saying, and I say this during my vetting for this job, that we as citizens will have to bite the bullet and ask ourselves whether we should not relook at our electoral system. It was in the WACO draft,
Right.
but the one we eventually got was a pure presidential system. So what we have now is pure presidential system. So if one tribe, and allow me to be blank on this one, has the majority population, and they mobilize them out to come and vote, and they can raise 50 or 49, why should they be interested, purely speaking, as a transactional venture, as a politician? Why should the politician be interested in others who will not help him or her get the 50 plus one? So the craze about big tribes is actually nurtured, fertilized, and made to grow by our electoral ecosystem, the majoritarian principle. So that one tribe, all that the leaders of these tribes, and we're using polite language here, the leaders of this tribe, all he or she has to do is to mobilize all his or her people. Nyuma yake. Then look at the other tribe and not talk to the tribe, not talk to the citizen, but talk to the leader of one other tribe. And you have 50 plus one. Now, fast forward. When they are in government, what happens? Will those who didn't matter in the process matter when they're finally on the table?
No.
They will not matter.
Lakini daktari.
Will IEBC matter?
No.
It will not.
Lakini daktari, kile unachoeleza pia ni msingi wa demokrasia.
Yes. I'm answering his question. What brings the lack of trust? And I'm saying it is the ecosystem of politics that we are in, that the system promotes tribal configurations, because unfortunately in Kenya, we vote based on tribes, not on, say, affiliations, like workers. In the US, you'll talk of auto workers, and that's a constituency.
So then is the problem the principle, or is it how we interpret it?
It's both. It's both, because even if the system says, I only need one big tribe, my tribe, for example, and I add more, nothing stops me as a politician from going out for other Kenyans and being inclusive. That is the message that we have been preaching in this country, all of us, haven't we? Saying that, yes, it doesn't matter who is small, who is big, we are all Kenyans. That is the principle.
Briefly then,
Yes.
You mentioned an alternative.
Yes.
The mixed member principal representation.
Correct.
As an alternative.
Thanks.
I will explain it.
It is simple, Latif. This one simply bases on parties as opposed to individual candidates. So let's take for instance, shall I use any of the parties, or I use...
Yeah.
Use Party Mariam and Party Latif.
Good.
And Party Janet.
Thank you. So Party Latif. When Party Latif is contesting, we will be choosing or electing parties as opposed to candidates. So Party Latif will then say, if I win, this is my party list. This will be my ministers. Minister of Interior will be this one. Minister of Justice will be this one. Okay? Latif will then also say that in respect of our constitution, the marginalized are included and they are here. The PWD are included and they're here. The women are included and they're here. That helps us kill this perennial problem of not meeting the gender third rule, for example, not include the marginalized. And then Latif also will have a manifesto for that party. So when Latif goes out there to market his party, he's not marketing Latif as the leader of a community. He's marketing Latif, the party that has Janet, who represents women and her credentials are proven. Is Latif party that has Mariam, who represents the people from Coast, just as an example. And these people from the coast have been marginalized. It is Latif's party that has ministers designated eventually who are good for what it is they are being told they will do, not based on tribe. So beforehand, when we go to our elections, we are electing a party that we are convinced will not marginalize others, will not discriminate others because they don't belong to their tribe. Bro, politicians are very intelligent.
So at the end of what does IEBC count?
What IEBC counts are the elections of those particular party. The party has
so Latif's party will get 4.9 million votes.
So assuming Latif party gets 30% of the votes.
All right.
Latif's party will form 30% of government. Mariam's will form, say, 20% of government. So the government you get is an inclusive government. For Kenyan's context, call it a broad-based government. A coalition government.
I don't know if it would be devoid of all the issues that still bedevil us.
Let's come there. Yeah. There is no silver bullet for any solution in the world.
Yeah, sure.
Even this MPPR will have its challenges. But we are thinking, and I welcome all of us to think, do we have a problem? Yes, we have a problem. What is the problem? IEBC lack of trust. Is this problem because of Erastus, Edung, Ethekon, and his commission? No. We are 47 days in office. So why hasn't the trust shot up immediately we were appointed? It did not shoot up because even as we were being nominated,
we're looking at your tribe.
You're looking at my tribe and looking at whom I've worked with before. So, Janet, we are not by any chance pretending to say that proportionate representation system is the silver bullet. But we are saying, could it be a solution to the problems we have? So finally, those are just a few of the reasons why I think IEBC is perceived differently. But the last one, Latif, and this one is reasoned. Misinformation, disinformation, deepfakes.
Yeah.
Technology is a fantastic thing. Latif, I thank God that he has kept me long enough to live in this day. You know, with these gadgets, I don't even have to struggle typing many things. I just press and I ask Siri, Siri, I want something, and Siri helps me around. That is how fun things is. Unfortunately, in that technology also lies the greatest peril to the IEBC reputation. And not just IEBC, but institutions of this country. Rather than use AI revolution in a positive way, some of us have engaged in a destructive way. So that even before the chairman and ourselves were sworn in, there was already a poster complete with his image saying that he had announced he was going to remove 3.5 million voters from the register in Central Province. And he was going to add 2.5 million for the Northeastern, or vice versa. Now, as soon as that is in the groups, and Latif, you're in some of these groups, what makes it even more dangerous? That even some of us who are most educated, PhD holders, professors, run with it. And now it becomes a chorus about this IEBC.
Yeah.
So you ask, I mean, some of them, but unfortunately now because of my position, I cannot interject and say, come on, we have been friends. How do you believe in this? So this
use your head.
I can't, because now, by virtue of being IEBC Commission, I have a bit of I have to have a bit of restraint. My office demands restraint. But at the same time, Latif, these professionals have huge WhatsApp groups. Runs to thousands. Some of them I know you are in them. And they, on that one post alone, they share and it goes viral. Now, my mother in Butere is 85 years old. Chakili is 85 years old. She only understands Luya and a bit of Kiswahili. Can you imagine when something like that goes to her, how she'll not believe it? And so there is a crisis that is already brewing that will swallow, if not checked, not just IEBC, but all other institutions.
I know Mariam is about to come in. Just a comment from Jose, words are not enough to inspire confidence of Kenyans. Concrete steps and systems need to be put in place. What operational and technological changes do you plan to put in place?
Thank you.
Put a pin on that.
We are coming to that.
Yes,
Yes.
but
I'm glad to respond to that.
I wanted to start with what is meant to be a prerequisite for the next general elections, which is the delimitation of boundaries.
Yes.
And that's why I was asking who the commissioner in charge is, and you said it's Dr. Francis.
Professor
Francis Adwol. Where are we on this? Do we have the time to do this delimitation?
Thank you.
Yes, just walk us through.
We don't have the time. It lapsed in 2024.
2020?
Yep.
2024.
It already lapsed?
Yes, the deadline lapsed in 2024.
Okay.
We were supposed to have conducted that by 2024 because under the Constitution, this boundary review has to be done between 8 to 12 years. The upper limit ended in 2024. So if your question is, if we have time, the answer is no. Your second question is, are we doing something about it? Yes, we are doing something about it because I've seen some comments on social media where they say IEBC cannot just fold its hands and say we can do nothing about it. When we arrived, we found a lot has been done, as I've said, and we approached the Attorney General's office for advisory. The Attorney General advised us to get advisory opinion from the Supreme Court because under the Constitution, it is the Supreme Court which has that mandate. We did. We await. Thank you.
What's the application before the Supreme Court?
The application before the Supreme Court is where the timelines for boundaries and delimitation review have lapsed. One, can IEBC extend the timelines and undertake the delimitation anyway without being seen to violate the law? Number two, when and if this is not done before the election, can it be lawfully done after the election? That's the crux of it.
Those two questions.
There may be more, but that really is what will matter. That's the global picture that will be important for our conversation.
Okay, but internally, in terms of preparedness, do you see yourselves, is it feasible, practically feasible, to do delimitation before 2027?
You know, if the law tells us we have to do it, if the Supreme Court tells us we have to do it, we'll have to find a way of doing it. Because you cannot fail to comply with the constitutional imperative. So that's the straight and narrow path. We have less than 2 years to the election. A boundaries delimitation has its own sensitivities. One, there are some constituencies which were secured because they did not meet the constitutional threshold of the population. If we do, now that's now the practical side of this delimitation thing. If we do delimitation, then as Kenyans we must be prepared that we are going to need a healing period arising from the ramifications and the ripple effects of that exercise. Because some of the constituencies which were secured, it would mean either they merge with others, and therefore they cease to exist. What are you telling Kenyans just as they're going to the election? And what are you telling the politicians? That they have spent 2 and 3 years campaigning. They have their strongholds in certain areas, and certainly now you're taking their strongholds to the other area.
But Commissioner,
no, I'm saying
we must have 290 constituencies.
Correct.
So even if you merge them, it means that you have to split others.
Correct.
To still retain 290.
Correct. 290 is a constant. The population mix is not a constant. And that is where there can be
machos.
Yes, machos. Two, if we do this boundaries delimitation, we must also be prepared to understand that the people in those constituencies have enough time for consultation under public participation. Because these are people, there are some boundaries which are delineated on the basis of community interests. So call it tribe. And now you're telling them, sorry, you move here. Something similar to what is happening in the US right now, where Texas has decided to do redistricting with a particular focus that the Republicans get something. And California has decided also to do the same. So something akin to that. So the question is, will we have enough time to go this process and heal? Because for me, the key word is to heal. But if the question is whether IEBC is ready to do it, our answer is yes. We simply must comply with the Constitution, but that has to await the decision and the advisory of the Supreme Court.
I just feel like it's such a delicate balance. Because it sounds like you're very confident that if the Supreme Court says this has to be done, and then there's by-elections, and then there's preparation for 2027. That's a lot to happen within this short amount of time.
Less.
So you obviously have machinery in place to say, if they say tomorrow, we'll run. Or is there something you're concerned about?
If they say we run tomorrow and is a directive of the Supreme Court, we have no choice but to comply. We'll simply seek more facilitation from the National Treasury. Okay? You've heard about the issue of the budgets, so we'll need more in terms, actually separate kitty for boundaries delimitation. But look, this is a bridge we must cross when we arrive there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then the other question, the question that was asked by one of our listeners here, you went and found a secretariat that's working. In your review of the secretariat, have you found a need to restructure that secretariat? Do you need more people? Do you need some people to leave?
Yes, we need more people. We need more people because whereas the establishment of the commission is at about 1,300 or thereabout, we are at about 800, if I'm not mistaken. The finer details will be with my technical staff who's just behind there. So we need more people. Let me give an example. For instance, in the voter directorate where I sit. In the voter department, voter education department, we have an acting director. We need to have a substantive director. And that cuts across pretty much all the 7 directorates. We have many acting positions. And those people acting, they're acting in positions which are sensitive and critical to the delivery of the election. So we need those directorates filled up, either by confirming those who are there, they're doing a good job, or by getting new people. But the point is, we need replacements or confirmations. Then, under that acting director, we have a manager and 1 staff down there. So the entire voter education...
In the directorate?
Yes. The entire voter education directorate. You know, you have the voter education department, we have communications department, then you have partnership and stakeholder department, all under the directorate of voter education, partnerships, stakeholder engagement, and communication. So, yes, in terms of the secretariat staff, we need realignment here and there just to make sure that the machine is running optimally. But
by when should you get a properly functional secretariat?
it is functional. It is
properly well constituted for the best delivery of the next general election.
There's a problem, you know, when sometimes for lawyers, they mean something else. When you say properly constituted, it means that as the secretariat sits now, it's not properly constituted. And that is not the correct position in law. The secretariat is properly constituted. It is functional. However, we need a few touch-ups here and there to make it optimal.
To make it proper.
Yes, to make it optimal, not proper.
I'm trying to get back to you again.
To make it optimal.
So
I'm giving an example.
What's your deadline? What's your cutoff date?
It's ongoing.
By this time,
For the optimal secretariat.
by this time, our IEBC secretariat should have everybody who needs to be where they need to be.
It is already ongoing. The director in charge and the commission chair, Hassan Nur Hassan, is already on it. It is the timelines that I did not have. I did not carry myself with the timelines with me here. But that is something that is already ongoing. There are confirmations that are likely to happen like yesterday, and therefore the issue of the composition of the secretariat staff for us is not an issue.
We have a caller just before we lose them. Clement from Nairobi good morning. Do you have any question or comment around this conversation we're having today?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Morning, Eric. I have a question, Mr. Mr. Mukhwana.
Yes, sir.
Are you still going to tender mathematics? One of Jose Camargo. Question. The second question. At the point of end, candidate, are you capable in terms of chapter 6 of leadership integrity? Because, yeah.
Clement, please repeat your questions. Maybe we're not getting you very, very clearly.
Yeah.
The first and the second question.
Okay, my first question. Are you still going to end with mathematics? The one of
Smartmatic. It's the
Smartmatic.
yeah. Second.
All right.
Second question would be, at the point of age of candidates, are you capable of doing chapter 6 of leadership and
Okay, chapter 6.
Chapter 6,
vetting.
okay.
Clement, I think we got the questions.
Thank you.
So first is the procurement for the next general election. Who are the suppliers? Are we still retaining the equipment that we've had, the suppliers that we've had? And then the second one, of course, is how you shall vet candidates.
Which candidates?
For all elections, including the by-elections. Chapter 6 and the strict adherence to chapter 6.
Let me start with the last one. How will vet? Thank you for the question. How we'll vet the candidates is how they have been vetted. The Elections Act provides the requirements for candidates who can then successfully vie for positions of whether from the presidency all the way to county assemblies. The Constitution also provides disqualification criteria. One, this person who applies to be a candidate must be over 18. Two, he must or she must be of sound mind. Okay? Three, she must or he must not have offended chapter 6 of the Constitution. So really, that is cast in stone. When you talk about vetting, that is cast in stone.
You know why it's not cast in stone?
Why is it?
It appears it's the interpretation that, yeah. Because does the IEBC use advisories from the EACC and others just matters of opinion, or do you consider EACC advisories as binding because those are also constitutional commissions? So when the EACC comes and tells you we have integrity questions on candidate Eric Latif, and then you go ahead and put them on the ballot because you know candidate Eric Latif, has not exhausted all appeal and all those things. Wakili?
For example, previous IEBC, and I'm not, they've, yeah, we've had candidates on the ballot facing crimes against humanity charges.
Yeah, for example.
Hi, wajua, ukweli na uongo mara nyingi zinabishana. Mimi nitazungumzia commission hii yetu ya Erastus Edung Ethekon. Navyojua mimi ni kwamba zipo sheria na yeyote anayetaka kuwania nafasi yote sharti awe ni mwenye kuingia katika kigezo hicho. Iwapo wenzetu walitutangulia hawakufanya hivyo, jamani, mimi siwezi kujibu kwa niaba yao. Na lojibu ni kwamba na nahakikishia Wakenya kwamba sisi tutafanya ambavyo amri ya sheria imetuambia. Na wajua pia tuelewane hivi kwamba haiwezi kuwa kwamba tutaishi kwa uoga na kwa shauku na dukuduku kwa ajili ya makosa tuliyokuwa nayo mwanzo. Historia ni muhimu kwetu iwapo itatusaidia kujenga leo na kesho. Kesho kutwa mtondo na mtondogoo. Lakini kama historia itazidi kutupa majonzi, hiyo historia itupilie mbali katika kaburi la sahau. Wakenya wana hii tabia kulia kila kuchao kwamba kulifanyika hivi, kura ziliibiwa hivi. Sasa mimi nauliza, huyu kijana mdogo Erastus Edung Ethekon, huyu Fahima miaka 32,
the youngest IEBC commissioner,
ameiba kura ya nani? So tusiwe tunaulizwa maswali kwa vigezo kwa makosa yaliyofanywa kule nyuma. Hata sisi tutakuwa na makosa yetu. Ngojeni tufanye makosa na tumekubali sisi binadamu. Tukikosa tutawia radhi.
Ngoja kidogo, let's take a call. Remind me, Philip, who's on the line? Josephat. Josephat from Kiambu. Good morning, Josephat. Would you like to contribute? Yeah, please go ahead and ask your question or share your comment.
Yes, good morning, Latif and the team. My question is to the Commissioner. He has spoken highly about how we should have a change of our electoral system to a party system, and that hopefully that might change the tribal dynamic that we experience. So my question to him is, should we now be talking about an election based on issues than tribal lines?
Yes.
That is one. Number two, as a commissioner, in my understanding is that he may not have enough confidence that we may deliver a credible election. And if that is so, does he understand that his talk does not exude trust? And why did he take the job if he does not feel the system will be fair enough to give a credible election? And lastly, when will the mass registration begin for voters? Thank you.
Thank you, Josephat. 3 good questions. Start with the previous one, because there was a question about the procurement.
Thank you. About the procurement question, we are yet to delve into the issue of procurement. We are yet.
I think running out.
Indeed. We are 47 days. My brother, we didn't stop the time ourselves. We just came in. We are on the 47th day. And on the 47th day, in terms of stakeholder engagement, we have engaged more than 10 stakeholders. The judiciary, we are meeting them tomorrow. Parliament, Media Council of Kenya, the UNDP, in 47 days. That's how important we realize that time is short, but at the same time, we have to be realistic as we move on. So, in terms of procurement, this is, at the moment, on the desk of the Vice Chair, Fahima Arafat Abdullah, who is working on these nitty-gritties. It is yet to come to the plenary where we can now say, is this mathematic? Are we retaining? Are we not retaining? I heard that gentleman talk of Jose Kamago. Wajua wa Kenya, nimesema wa Kenya, tumekuwa werevu sana sisi. Kila mtu mwerevu, hakuna kuambiwa. Next time I come here, I will come with the director of elections. As ajibu hili swali la Kamago. When I was told how this Kamago thing came up, I sympathized for those ladies and gentlemen in the commission. So, as far as Smartmatic is concerned, whether you're going with Smartmatic, Latif, if you allow me any time after this, I'll come. We have an open door policy as the new IEBC. If you have an issue you want to clarify, you call me directly. If you can't reach me, that gentleman there is called Aswani Edgar. He's a media liaison officer. You can reach him. Behind there, we have our communications manager, Purity Njeru.
Oh, tunajua.
Sasa mbona mwajua na hamuulizi fake news?
Aliuliza hilo swali, hawajui.
Asante.
Aliyepiga simu kuuliza hilo swali, hawajui.
Asante.
Anakujua wewe, mko na wewe hapa. Ndio maana akakuuliza wewe hilo swali.
Haya basi, nimekiri.
Sawa.
Nimekiri kakaangu, nimekiri. Haya.
The questions from
Smartmatic. Hiyo tumejibu.
Tumemaliza. Now we're going on to, yes.
Josephat's questions.
Josephat's questions on one is system, your proposal for the mixed member principal representation. Anauliza, yeah, then that still, he still feels is somewhat, can be tribal. How do we move to issue-based? Issue-based politics.
I want you to, if you want me to be more efficient, lead me one by one. His question is, we should be issue-based.
Yes.
By the way, a research has been done by IEBC, and again, when I come back, ask me about that one. The 2022 was found to be the most issue-based campaign in the political history of this country. So, if politicians choose to be issue-based, we can be issue-based. Lakini utamfanyaje? Binadamu utamfanyaje umlazimishe? And that is why now we are grappling with the electoral system. Maybe if we go the MPPR way, ile ambayo si majoritarian, labda itasaidia. That's why we're grappling. But I agree that we ought to have issue-based politics in this country.
Just to clarify then.
Yes.
The proposal for the mixed member proportional representation is Dr. Mukhwana's thinking. It's not the IEBC.
Thank you very much.
Is it?
I said this and I repeated that I gave this opinion during my vetting.
Okay.
So it's not new to me, and it remains to me. This is not the proposal of the commission. But you see, being a member of the commission does not mean that we don't think. When we are bombarded by these negativities, we also now must think. And for your information, Section 44 of the Elections Act mandates IEBC to engage in progressive deployment of technology. So apart from the electoral system, which my personal opinion that maybe that will help going forward, and this is my personal opinion, technology, when deployed correctly and with the requisite legal reforms, can again help us have better elections in terms of expenditure, less expenditure, and in terms of perceptions. But again, there is the citizenry. There is the political class. The buy-in must come first. If it isn't there, it will be the same.
Okay. We have Alex from Nakuru, but also remember the other two questions.
Yes.
Just for the interpretation of it, was that the way you were talking at the vetting, now while you're talking, sounds like you're not really confident that IEBC can deliver a credible, verifiable, or those other words?
Secure, credible,
all those elections. You'll respond to that. But who do we have on the line again?
You just said Alex from Nakuru.
Alex from Nakuru. Good morning, Alex.
Morning.
Ask your question, please, to the Commissioner.
Ujambo Alutalala Mukhwana.
Sijambo kaka.
Nakushukuru sana kwa jinsi unavyoongea Kiswahili.
Asante.
Kadiri unavyochanganya Kiswahili na Kiingereza, tunavutiwa sana kwa sababu Wakenya wengi kusema kweli Kiingereza kinawapita Kenya kidogo. Na ningeweza kuwahimiza watangazaji mnapojadili masuala nyeti kama haya, kidogo jaribu kuingiza Kiswahili ili wale wengine wetu ambao hatuelewi Kiingereza sana tutaweza kuyaelewa. Kwa hivyo Alutalala Mukhwana.
Asante.
Alex,
sana, Alex,
kadiri unavyozungumza Kiswahili, wengi wetu pia tutapotea.
Lakini tunaweza jaribu.
But what that tells you is that you're already reaching the wider Kenyan population.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's true.
And thank you for also mixing the languages as well.
Thank you.
So, confidence.
You know,
are you confident? Alutalala Mukhwana.
I'm very confident. You see, again, this is the trouble with we Kenyans. Ukifanya hili sizuri. Ukifanya hili sizuri. Now, what I'm giving is a progressive opinion of what is it that is bringing IEBC under scrutiny for lack of trust. And then we are developing a conversation. You know, this is think tanking. And we are saying that maybe the MPPR will be an alternative. MPR meaning proportional member representation. We have not even said that that is going to come. We have not even said that the present majoritarian system is not going to bring free, fair, credible, accurate, accountable, and transparent elections. We are not saying that. Lakini sasa sikiza huyu Mkenya mwenzangu anavyosema kwamba inaonekana hauna imani na hizo kura. Before you realize nikifika kule nje utakuta picha yangu. Alutalala says, not sure of free, fair, credible.
There's a question here. I know there's others, but still on your proposition.
Yes.
Does the mixed member representation election method require any legislative changes through Parliament?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
there is a whole area of legal reform.
Yes.
When we met Parliament recently, we found that there were a number, and we at IEBC also have made many proposals in terms of legislative reform. And that's why I'm saying this session here is a think tank session. You know, this kind of reasoning by some Kenyans is the reason why they drove some of the commissioners in the previous commission to hide behind the walls and only appear to the cameras and to the people when they must. We refuse. We'll come out and tell you when we have done something. Please tell us if it is wrong. We'll reason together and we'll accept and admit where we have done wrong and offer amends. Lakini hatutasukuma tujifiche tusiongee mawazo yetu ili tunyongwe tukiona.
Nimekupata, lakini pia nimeelewa Josephat mahali anatoka.
Anasema nini?
Ni kwa sababu maneno haya wengi wape haki yao. Ni maneno ya kimsingi. It's the foundation, right, of our democracy. So lakini ukisikia commissioner labda akisema maybe we should do it this way, I can see where he's coming from, akiona labda inamaanisha hauna imani kwa kura hizi. Lakini pia nakuelewa two things can be true at the same time. Kuna vitu zinahitaji ukarabati hapa na pale, but that doesn't mean it has anything to do with the credibility of our elections.
Mariam,
the two of them can be true.
Thank you. I want to ask you a question, Mariam.
Okay.
Do you agree that you have a problem in terms of tribal mobilization
100%.
on the ethnic lines?
100%, yes.
Thank you. Do we have a solution to it? Because why am I talking like this, an IEBC commissioner? It's because the question from Latif was, what is this about the trust deficit in IEBC and what causes it? So my answer then was, because of the electoral system in which IEBC is operating.
Yes.
IEBC is a referee of a political game.
I'm not refuting. I'm also just trying to show where Josephat is coming from.
Very
But
well,
okay, let's get to the third one.
Thank you.
Which is registration. He asked a question around registration. It's an ongoing process, but is it really?
Thank you. As one philosopher says, if you say you know, you're right. If you say you don't know, you're as well right. So I agree with your position on that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Voter, it's actually called CVR. Continuous voter registration. The law requires that we conduct it continuously, except during elections. Like now we are having by-elections from 27th. The moment we gazetted, we gazetted the returning officers, presiding officers, and announced that election, up to when the elections are completed, there can be no voter registration within those areas of the by-elections. It can continue in other areas. During the general election, you cannot have voter registration the moment the election date is set. Apart from those two scenarios, the law requires that we do continuous voter registration. Now, when we arrived, we found that it had not been going on. We have already announced, the chairman has already announced that today he'll be responding to this particular issue. So I don't want to usurp my chairperson's role, but hopefully he'll be making an announcement on where we are on this issue.
Why was it not going on?
That's a good question. I wish I could answer for what has happened in 47 days, but it wasn't going on.
What answer were you given?
Well, there was lack of budget for it. But other than lack of budget for it, from what we are told, there was no commission in place.
Do we need a commission in place for that to happen?
Good question.
Who needs to go home?
Bottom line.
You see, there's a gray area.
We're talking about over 2 years of an exercise that should constitutionally be happening and legally be happening, that it's not happening.
You see, there are many things that could not happen because commissioners were not there. Okay? Some of these things were taken to court. And the court, for example, gazettement of a member of county assembly, for example.
Oh, come a bit closer to the
gazettement of member of county assembly who on a party list who had been nominated.
Right.
And in some instances, the court ruled that that is an administrative issue, and the CEO ought to move with it. But there are some instances when, again, the court ruled it is not an administrative issue. For example, the deputy governor of Lamu County has remained unsworn in because commissioners were not in. So again, in this issue of advisory and judicial president at the High Court...
Yet a deputy president was sworn in at the same time, during that period. Okay, go on.
The judicial president, that is the judge-made law, especially at the High Court, kuna mkanganyo. There are some decisions where the High Court has ruled that it's okay, it's an administrative function, the CEO can go ahead, and there are some instances where it has ruled and said, no, it has to be a commission. So the Secretariat, really, without the commission, chose the safety path. And the safety path was to pen it, wait for commissioners, because if you make a mistake as a Secretariat, you're in deeper waters. That is the reason. You usurped a job. Yes, you usurped. That's the reason why it did not go on.
I want to ask a question that is directly under your directorate.
Yes,
stakeholders, stakeholder management. One of the... Okay, here's question number 1. Who is the most critical stakeholder in an election, in your opinion?
The people who, under Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 of the Constitution, have the sovereign power. Article 1, Article 2 state that the sovereign power belongs to the people, and that this sovereign power may be delegated to elected representatives. That is the Parliament, both the Senate and National Assembly. Then it goes ahead to say that it may also be exercised, this delegated power, by the judiciary and independent tribunals. Therefore, IEBC is a project of the people of Kenya.
Okay.
And therefore, the people of Kenya become the first and critical stakeholder for IEBC.
Okay.
Thank you.
My second question was with these other stakeholders called legislators.
Yes.
And in the run-up to the last election, the IEBC had gazetted regulations that were putting caps on campaign financing. And it became a whole issue because Parliament threw that out and said, operated beyond timelines and so on and so forth. What needs to happen this time for the IEBC to actually cap and monitor election financing?
Thank you, Eric. You should put that together with another one, which I know is coming, but I let it come. All that IEBC needs to do is to remind and persuade and lobby parliamentarians to enact this act. That's all. Because the power is not in IEBC hands. The power is in the hands of the legislators. Remember, I have just cited Article 1 and Article 2. It was deliberate that the people of Kenya have given their powers of sovereignty to the parliamentarians. And that power involves legislating. So where parliamentarians do not legislate, should that be placed on the doorsteps of IEBC? There is collegiality between IEBC and our parliamentarians. We have a very good relationship. I told you they're among the first stakeholders we have met. The Honorable Speaker, Moses Wetangula, was very gracious and offered that he'll fast-track those proposals which you have made. And therefore, we believe that even the campaign financing will be one of them. Okay. And the other one, which I know...
Here it comes. 61 billion shillings?
In terms of?
What's your budget?
Come on. We asked for 57 billion. We were given 50 billion. Okay? Spread over 3 years. Again, when you tell Kenyans, please tell them this 50 billion does not come once. It comes the first year, second year, and third year. When we talk about the cost of elections, again, that is another whole area where if I immerse myself, the gentleman may again say, you don't have confidence. You don't seem to have confidence that this is going to work. But let me say this. We need to look at the cost drivers of this budget. Now, I keep saying again, next time please allow me to come with my tech guy because they'll break down the specifics. But briefly, we have to look at the major cost components. In 1992, when we had the first multi-party elections, we had 6,000 polling centers across the country. Fast forward, we are in 2022, we had about 24,400 thereabout. Right now, we are soon beginning mapping of polling centers because the population has increased. There are young people who must be given the right to franchise. So we are beginning this mapping shortly, and we anticipate that there will be additional polling centers. These polling centers, the 24,000 plus, were manned by 510,000 workers. In 2027, we anticipate that on top of the 22 million voters who voted last time, we are hoping to add 6 million.
An additional pause there, and you'll come back 30 seconds to just give us a final word because we are out of time.
Thank you.
Just wanted to tease mental fitness for students preparing for KJCA and KCSE and KPSEA, all of them, which we talked about.
Yeah,
all of the above. KJSEA, KCSE. That mental fitness is needed. Mwikali and Winnie hopefully will be able to help navigate that because it's so important for students and parents as well. Alafu Vibe Shift, that's on Your World on NTV.
Yes, that's going to be on NTV, and of course on Vibe Shift, of course, Claudia Naisabwa, sorry, and of course Brian Aselia there, 96.3 Nation FM. So we've got a lot to look forward to, including Richie Barrow. He's coming through an entertaining call on scaling in a competitive market, scaling your business, scaling yourself, all of that on 96.3 Nation FM.
Yes.
So we'll be having those conversations after, but let's just let Daktari finish.
In just a few seconds, Daktari, just your parting shot.
And then maybe part two, maybe we can do this with Commissioner Fahima as well. We'll need to really, really go into why our elections are some of the most expensive per GDP in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In just a few seconds.
Thank you. I'll be more than willing to bring my sister Fahima next time. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you for the opportunity to have IEBC speak to the citizens. We as commissioners have chosen hope over cynicism. Mungu akitujalia, tutawapa Wakenya uchaguzi ulio wa haki na uhuru. Na taifa litakuwa na amani. Hatuna wajibu mwingine isipokuwa huo. Asanteni.
Asante sana. Thank you very much, Daktari.
Dr. Alutalala. Alutalala Mukhwana, Commissioner of the IEBC, has been our guest. Thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow we have more conversations. Remember, we are getting into this week where the Constitution is going to have its birthday, the 15th birthday. It's a proper teenager now.
Deep teenagehood.
It's good. All those things, body changes and all. And the question is it actually living its purpose? We'll be having some of those conversations tomorrow. Keep it here for that. Have a lovely day. It's coming up to 10 a.m.